What's up everybody, Anime X here, and in this video I will be doing another pilot episode to a new What If, and just as the title and thumbnail suggests, in this video I will be discussing what if Goku landed on Krypton. And before I even start explaining further, I just want to say that this What If came from a comment on my What If Minute to Survive Part 3, and this came from Kid Zeus. So shout out to him for giving me this idea, and if you guys have any What Ifs that you want to show up on my channel, feel free to comment them down below. If I like them, I'll probably do my best to get to them ASAP. Now, this is a new What If, so I'll be doing first is explaining what would most likely happen or how this would happen in the story, and then I'll proceed to go about what that What If from there on. So, since this idea What If is pretty simple, I'm just going to dive right into it. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, the way that I see Goku landing on Krypton is very simple and reminiscent of something that happens in the Supergirl comics. But the first thing that I'll be acknowledging is that Krypton will be in the DBZ world for the most part, not the other way around. And my reasoning for this is so that specific DBZ characters can exist, and also because I'm much more familiar with the world of Dragon Ball than I am with comics. Now, I will obviously be doing it also because I'm an anime channel, but if you guys have some comic things that you want to show up in the What If, I'm all for that. I'm not too knowledgeable in comics myself, so I'll be focusing on anime stuff. Now, a quick disclaimer, I will also be using specific power levels to give you guys a direct comparison of the characters throughout this series. So the specifics of Goku landing on Krypton is that his pod's coordinates are set towards Earth, but then knocked off course by a freak accident in space, which completely changes the direction of the pod, and therefore makes Goku land on Krypton, which is where this What If is going to be starting. So, Goku's story starts when his pod comes crashing down into the Kryptonian atmosphere and lands directly into a random area in Krypton. He is later found by a scientist Kryptonian thinking that the pod is some sort of space rebel, but when the Kryptonian gets close, they hear a baby crying and bawling its eyes out. When they look into the pod, they see a little baby with a tail in there. This Kryptonian scientist is Jor-El. Now, for all of you comic readers, this makes sense, and you know exactly who that is. But for all of my fellow anime-only peoples, this is the father of Kal-El and Kara Zor-El, who are Superman and Supergirl, respectively. Now, after Jor-El is able to free Goku from the pod, he notices a sizable lump on the back of Goku's head. And this lump is what makes Goku lose his memory of what his objective on Earth is. Now, the reason that he gets hurt in the pod crash when he did on Earth is because the gravity on Krypton is greater than that of Earth, so much more that is reminiscent of planet Vegeta's gravity, with it at least being 10 times, but other sources estimate that it could be as much as 40 times. So just for a safe estimate, we'll say that the gravity is 20 times that of Earth and 10 times that of twice as much as planet Vegeta. This means that at first Goku struggles to even move on this planet because, he is not he's not used to this type of gravity, at least as a Saiyan. Even with his advanced Saiyan biology, he still struggles for the first few months of his life. Now, after Jor-El gets Goku, he takes him back to his home, along with transporting the pod for further study. Goku is soon introduced to Clark and Kara, which are their human names, I know, but that's easier to refer to them. That's how I'm going to refer to them because it's easier for me. But immediately after Goku is introduced to the household, he is noticed not to be a Kryptonian due to his tail. Kara, Lara, and Clark all wonder why this random person just entered their house and why he has a tail. Jor-El then explains that he is at their pod crash and he decided to help. He also wants to run tests on him along with his pod until they decided what to do with him. So for a couple of weeks, Kara and Clark are wary of Goku, not necessarily liking him too much or even understanding who he is. All they've noticed about him is that about 1 month ago, Goku couldn't even move under the gravity of their planet, and now he can run and jump better than they can. After even more weeks of testing, Jor-El realizes that Goku is a Saiyan, a warrior race that conquer planets to sell them, and that's why Goku is able to adapt to the gravity so quickly. And that's why he seems so much more athletic and agile than even an average Kryptonian adult. With this realization, Jor-El thinks about turning him over to the military so they can handle him, but he notices that the kids are starting to like Goku more and more, and they seem to be interested in the tricks that Goku could do with his tail. Seeing this softened Jor-El's heart, so he decides to officially declare him as part of their family, making them part of the L family, I should say. So, for about 4 or 5 years, Goku is part of the Jor-El family, with him getting a formal education from the smartest Kryptonians on the planet. He gets trained to become the master at Kryptonian martial arts in only a couple of days, and he even seems to be faster and stronger and even more durable than a Kryptonian elite, the ones that aspire to be military, which astonishes Jor-El. Clark and Kara seem to be taking a liking to him as well, with all of them being a similar age. Clark looks to Goku as a brother and as a rival, and Kara looks to Goku as someone who is really cool, and she hopes that they can all live together happily forever. And for a short while, that wish is a reality. Clark and Goku spar constantly, Goku always beating Clark, and yet grows from every battle, and he and Kara grow closer. But this all ceases to a halt when Jor-El figures out that Krypton is due to explode. He doesn't let the kids know, but he decides to prepare a special 3-man pod for them to escape to Earth. And on that day of Krypton's explosion, all the children escape from the pod and fly away and look back just in time to see their home blown a bit. Kara cries at this sight, with Goku and Clark attempting to comfort her, telling her that it'll be okay, even when they know themselves it's probably not. Now, just where and how Goku landed in the original is exactly where and how they land in this What If. So that means that they are discovered by Grandpa Gohan, and he takes them all in, giving them a safe home, clothing, and food. To Goku, the food is the most important part, and he shows this as he devours all of the food that Grandpa Gohan puts out for him. Now, while Goku is eating, Kara and Clark are asking how he can be so upbeat about what happened when he's lost his family twice. And yet he never seems upset or even sad. Goku just replies that he came to Krypton with no family and he left with family. So he says even though that he's lost family as well, he gained some. So it's kind of a win for him. So he's going to do his best to protect them and keep them from harm. So before I move on any further, I just want to say everyone's power levels real quick, just because this is kind of important to the plot. So for Clark on Krypton, his power level was 10, about what Kid Goku was in the original. Clark in the Sun now has a power level of 200, already putting him into the higher tiers of the Dragon Ball verse. Kara's is slightly lower just because she didn't train as much, with a power level of 9 on Krypton and a power level of 190 in the Sun, which still puts her above a lot of powerful Dragon Ball characters. Now, Goku is a special case in this situation because in this, his base power would be insane due to him living and training on a planet with 20 times the gravity of Earth. Now, since you saw how much training on a planet with 10 times gravity would affect him, all we have to do is take that and then, just add a 2 times increase onto that. And his power level would now be 200. And if you double that, since he lived in 20 times gravity, not 10, that would mean that his full power would be 400, meaning that he surpasses any threat that would come up to him in Dragon Ball. And this would make the threats on Earth seem a lot less relevant. Now, on top of all this, Grandpa Gohan decides to teach them all martial arts so they can be disciplined and learn certain character traits. Now, just like in the original, one night Goku looks at the full moon and kills Grandpa Gohan, and almost kills Kara and Clark until eventually the moon goes down and he shrinks back to being his normal size. Kara and Clark decide to tell Goku what happened, and this makes Goku fall to his knees and just fall into his despair for the first time. And for the first time, they also see him visibly cry in front of them. And you may be saying that this is out of character for Goku, but Goku is also a lot smarter in this What If, so he grasps the full gravity of what he did, and he actually knows that he killed Grandpa Gohan, which really hits him hard. So, for that night, Goku just sits down mourning the loss of Grandpa Gohan, but the next day, he is back to normal, silly, upbeat self, which cheers him up since they didn't like sad Goku as much. Now, at this point in the series, they are all about 6 years old, so nothing basically continues to happen for another 6 years, until they are 12 and the events of the original Dragon Ball can happen. And that, everybody, is where I'm going to stop this first episode or part of What If Goku Landed on Krypton. And I know there wasn't too much action or anything in this part, but I do apologize for that. But the pilot episodes of these What Ifs will always be me establishing the story and character building before I continue into the more flashy and surface level things like the fights and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, there will definitely be action in the next part of this. And if you guys want a second part of this at all, you know what to do, but I needed to establish things in the first part. And if you do want a second part, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button, comment down below if you want another part. And if you're new to the channel and enjoyed the video and haven't already done so, consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss any more What Ifs. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, guys, this is Anime X, signing off.